What's up, guys? It's Puppy here, and Defiance just released a new patch. The new patch went live. This is patch 1.010. We're going to go ahead and take some of the highlights out of it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, although I will link the forum post in the description for those who actually care to see the whole thing. I'm just going to hit what I feel is important, the changes that I feel is important, and kind of express my thoughts on some of the things, pros, cons, and just for a heads up on you guys, because I know YouTube isn't always the most apparent thing, and I'm sure there will be more patches in the future. This patch is the patch that was released April 16th, 2013. So if you're watching it and it's a few months later than this, they've probably patched some more stuff since then. So we're going to go ahead and kick off with the first thing. It's on the top of the list, and it is probably the most important thing that I know a lot of people have been clamoring for, and that's improved server and client stability. Now, what this is likely going to entail is that means that your connections are going to be better. You're not going to have as much lag and jumping around, which I know is a bigger problem on the consoles versus the guys over on the PC, but it was still an issue nonetheless, and it's good to see that they're working on it. The next big thing, it's actually number 2 on the list as well, is main missions are now going to be replayable after you complete the final main mission. This is huge for people like me who've already beat the main mission and have friends that are playing through, because I can't really play with them. I mean, they start playing some of the main missions and I'm like, I've already done that, so I can't really help you out. So huge deal right there. I'll be able to actually play with my friends. You guys will be able to play with your friends too if you beat the entire game and you have friends that are lagging behind you. Another thing that they've added, or that they're changing, is the extraction timer has been up from 30 seconds to 90 seconds. Now this one I honestly do not agree with, guys. I know 30 seconds may seem like a short time, but 90 seconds, that's a minute and a half. And just for you, those of you guys that don't know, the extraction timer, that is the timer that is being displayed while you're essentially down on the ground and either waiting a revive or a self-revive. 90 seconds? That is way too long. I mean, okay, if they wanted to up it from 30, fine, but 90 is just overdoing it a little bit. Another key point to hit on is area voice chat has now been turned off by default. Now, I don't know why they didn't do this from the get-go, because I remember watching a live stream prior to the launch during the beta in which the game developer said that this was going to be off by default. I don't know why it was on, so it's good to see that they actually fixed that. Another thing to go ahead and surmise, I'm going to say this and just about, because this is something that's common with all the patch notes. They broke it down in the specific areas, but the one thing that they put in the exact same key feature in it is they said general polish and bug fixes for everything. That includes main missions, side missions, co-op missions, solo missions, PvP, so just tons and tons of general bug fixes. They've also removed some of the timer delays between some of the main missions. I don't know if this is going to be all the main missions, but that will be kind of cool, not having to wait so much. I know some people didn't mind the timers. I personally kind of had an issue with it just because I was like, yeah, I kind of want to get on with the main story. I don't really care to go off and do my own thing. I'm trying to focus on just the main story, and the fact that you make me wait 2 or 3 minutes before I can do another mission was a little annoying, so that's been addressed. Also, on the note of side missions, they have made it to where you should not run into any more side missions that are devoid of enemies. I know I personally ran into a few where it was like you run into an area and all the bad guys are gone. You basically just tap your interact button 3 times and GG, there's the mission. So I'm guessing that this is no longer going to be a thing. You are going to have enemies in every side mission, which is good. It's good to keep it spicy, and, you know, good to have stuff coming after you. It's a little boring just going after a mission and, you know, like I said, just pushing the interact button 3 times or whatever. And another huge note is several mission progression bugs have been fixed. I know a lot of people, including myself, at one point were having problems where some of the missions you were not able to progress anymore because there was a bug. You couldn't complete the next objective for whatever reason. Like I said, I had that problem on a mission. I know some other guys had that problem, so hopefully they've had all that fixed now and it will no longer be an issue. On the topic of the emergency missions, and for those of you guys that don't know what the emergency missions are, those are the ones, like the little side missions you run into as you're driving around. Like say you just run into a roadblock or some guys that need help and you revive them and then get ambushed. Apparently they added some new emergency types throughout the world, so it'll be interesting to see what all they added there. I'm pretty excited for that one. And another note on the emergencies is emergencies will no longer spawn within major arc falls. In fact, if there is any, they will despawn. This to me is a good thing because I can't tell you how many times where I'd be in a major arc fall and you'd run into an emergency that was right next to the arc fall, so you have bad guys coming from the emergency area and bad guys on your arc fall that are just like swarming you, and if you didn't have a ton of people there, it could be a bit of a pain. There were several player animation fixes, so there should be no more running or rolling or climbing ladders while in place. I know I had a few of these happen to me. On the topic of enemies, they've made the Elite Mad Matic. They've dropped his shields from being 5,400 to 4,500. Personally, I didn't think that was a big issue. I was able to handle him alright, but some people, I guess, complained a little bit, said he was too tough, so they nerfed him a bit. Moving on to the topic of co-op maps, if you now join a co-op session that is mid-game, you will instantly be teleported to wherever the leader of the party is. I know this is a huge deal, at least for me, because I can't tell you how many times I joined a co-op map and the leader would be like 3/4 of the way through and I would be back at the start of the map. It's a little bit of a pain having to run all the way back up to him. So hopefully we won't have to worry about that anymore. And moving on to the topic of weapons, this is probably the biggest one that I'm just kind of a little confused on. They lowered the damage output of sawed-off shotguns. Now, I kind of get this from a PvP perspective, where I know a lot of people are just kind of cloaking with their sawed-off shotguns and then popping out and blasting kids, one-shotting them as soon as somebody runs by. But honestly, for PvE, I really don't understand this at all. It takes so daggone long for the things to reload that, in my opinion, they're really worthless, especially when you get up there and you start fighting bad guys that have shields, because your chances of actually landing a one-shot kill on any of those tougher elite mobs it's not going to happen. So I really don't understand the point of that. It kind of makes the sawed-off shotguns useless, in my opinion, but, you know, I guess that's more of a PvP fix than anything else, although I wish they could have just fixed it for PvP. They've also nerfed infectors across the board, reducing their homing range, their bug damage, and the bug speed. I don't know that I really agree with that. These things are pretty crap as it was, but yeah, I guess it was an issue. I don't know. I never encountered this. I don't think they were OP. If anything, I think they were way underpowered. But that's just my thought. A couple other weapons that got hit with the nerf bat were the rocket launchers, which no longer get the magazine size mods, and the legendary detonators no longer get the +6 mag bonus. I'm guessing that there was just too many people spamming explosives everywhere. I didn't really think this was that big of an issue. I haven't been killed by explosives a whole lot in PvP, and I haven't seen a huge excessive spam of it in PvE, but I guess this was an issue. I don't know. Two other things that got hit with the nerf bat were the rocket launchers and the legendary detonators. Rocket launchers no longer get the mag size mods, which basically increase the amount of rockets you could fire in one magazine, and legendary detonators no longer have the +6 mag bonus. I'm guessing they were just trying to reduce the damage per second that these things are capable of. I don't know if that was a little mistake on their part or if they thought it was going to be okay to begin with, but needless to say, that has been fixed. And as far as vehicles go, they've had a few bug fixes here and there. There's one big thing that I am actually quite excited for, even though it's a nerf, and that's that the shields for the rollers have actually been reduced. Personally, don't have a problem with this, just because the difference between the rollers and the Cerberus, the giant semi-looking thing, like the shields were negligible. You could basically cruise through a massive amount of enemies and still not have to really worry about being thrown out of your vehicle. I'm hoping now that that will be a little bit more of an issue, although not so much as an issue if you were on an ATV, but that has been a change as well. And one of the things that I complained about actually in one of my previous Defiance videos was some bad audio on the Xbox 360 when you got around arc falls and things. They seem to have listened to us on that one. They have optimized the audio, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. I will say this before I go, though, one last thing to send you guys off. The one feature that I was really looking forward to did not make its appearance in the patch notes, and that is a region select. So for those of you guys that don't know, over on the Xbox 360, currently we are region locked. We're not, if you're a US player, you're not able to play with European players or Australian players, and vice versa all the way around. to me, which is a little crappy. But you know, what can you do besides, I guess, just patiently wait for them to add a region select feature, and kind of just keep them reminded that yes, that is something that we do want. I have several friends all over the world that I personally would really like to play with. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's kind of dumb that I'm not able to play with my friends just because they live in another country. What is the internet for? But, you know, interacting with people and sitting side by side on a couch, even if it's all the way across the globe. So that's all I really got for you guys today. That's been the patch notes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more Defiance, and I will talk to you guys later. This is Puppy out. Peace.